JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. May 1st, Thursday, 3:23 p.m. in the afternoon. Talk really quick about the markets. Don't have much to talk about, to be honest with you. Today is one of those lackluster sessions, almost like Monday. Monday was another one of those sessions where, markets just just melted, right? Just a premium crush. So, um, well, not melted, but the premiums crush. And the worse later in the week it gets, the worse it becomes for the options. So, um, all things considered, the Roku has earnings, so at least those premiums somewhat held up. XYZ has earnings, so somehow those premiums held up. But I'll talk about those in a second. But take a look at the overall market. Nearly a 1% intraday swing. So the trading range on the SPY 1%, and that's you take a look at the last the month, pretty much the month of April, probably averaged like a 3% trading range, if not more. So back in almost, a couple of weeks ago, people complaining about the wide trading range, and now they're complaining about, whoa, there's no volatility. So outside of, maybe timing some tops right at the open today, it's been most names are off the highs of the session. So, uh, yeah, not the, unless you're playing for downside. But then if you came into the day with puts, those are right at the open. So all right, so just kind of the overall market, just more headlines about deals and uh, the EU saying 50 billion deal on the time. Who knows? You just hope something happens at some point here, especially in regards to China. And again, I keep saying there's a high probability that China and US will have some kind of pause or something like that. Similar, maybe it won't be a direct pause, but maybe it'll be something. I think it's going to happen relatively soon. Uh, Tomorrow morning is the important one, right? We get April jobs report. I mean, I wasn't expecting GDP to be negative 0.3%. So coming into this week, I thought the jobs report would be somewhat strong, but then you saw the ADP number yesterday too. So maybe there's some weakness. I think it's 4.2% unemployment rate. Their expectations, from at least analysts are expecting 4.2%. Maybe that upticks a little bit. Maybe a little bigger than to me. I don't want to see a two week jobs number. I don't want to see negative, and then you don't want to see a massive jump in the unemployment rate, like 4.5 or something like that. If it is just a little bit, maybe that adds a little ammo to Fed Chair Powell to turn a little more dovish on Wednesday. So obviously, after the close day, Amazon, Apple. I don't know how much Amazon or Apple can really do that might tank the markets. Of course, I mean it's almost like everybody's expecting concerns, right? We'll hear what China's trying to do to uh, get out of China into India or wherever they're going to start shipping phones. Who knows what that looks like, or their supposed production in the United States, their $500 billion investment. So we'll have to hear a little about that. And then obviously Amazon, right? So they have the Amazon Haul. What does that look like in regards to the rollout there, the cost, tariffs? So it's probably more about the guidance and the commentary than anything else. But I think similar to Microsoft and Meta, the difference here is there's product, right? If you take a look at yesterday was Microsoft and Meta, they're more like the service side, right? And the service side doesn't have the tariffs. So today it's probably like a little more impactful because we get the tariff impacts, but to me less impactful because we already got kind of the ad spend concern around recession, right? So all right, that's kind of the overall market. The 200-day moving average is sitting there right at 570. So would probably provide some resistance if we do uh, get up to that. And we got up to 564 here today. 557 on the SPY is the 50-day moving average. So pretty remarkable that within we dropped under the 50-day. Let's see here, back at the end of February, and boom, we're back above it. It's as if nothing happened. All right, so that's kind of the overall market. Tomorrow I hope we get some swings, similar to what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. I'm probably a little more aggressive on lotto trades, right? I mean, I don't think we're out of the woods in regards to headlines moving the markets both ways. So to me, I'd rather, if I'm going to try and play some lottos or spec calls with better risk reward setups and profiles, I'd rather do it on a Friday than on a Monday, right? The Monday, maybe we would have got some moves on Monday, but we didn't. And so it's not only is it we didn't get moves, but it just killed the premiums at the start of the week. So, and the premiums are expensive, obviously on when options expire on Friday. Heck of a lot less expensive. So that's more of the game plan. All right, so just quick on the individual names, because I don't really have too much. Oh, and the VIX, right back to the start of April lows, 23 and change. So good stuff there. All right, really quick. So XYZ, I was thinking about it pretty much all morning, and even yesterday, while I was doing my rant, I wanted to be in a spot when I add those strikes to start a week to lock some into the earnings, right? It's not like I got the calls and they're close in the money. The stock has to move close to 15% for them to be in the money. But I don't, it's the thing is it's option expiration Friday, earnings Thursday after the close. So I have weekly strikes. So if it has a 10% move, the calls are done, right? Pretty much, unless obviously it rallies for the rest of the day during the market. But I just didn't like that risk reward setup. Watching it today, I'm like, wow, I can get out for green, so I closed them for a small profit. And then I was looking possibly maybe getting next week's 75s. I think they're like 20 cents. I got about a half hour to decide, so don't be surprised if I just nibble a few specs. Uh, Here's the thing. I mean, I love the block story. I mean, surprised to see it back back down here. It always seems to like struggle for a while, then go on a tear, then struggle. It has that Bitcoin component as well. So would not be surprised to see this take off. I'm not as convicted that it can move 15%. So don't be surprised if I get some strikes. Maybe next week. This way, if it does rally, let's say 10%, out of the money strikes for next week might gain some premium just on that move alone. Doesn't have to, we don't have to hope for that big move. And then next week, maybe continuation. So that was the thought process on closing those. And also, it's a miserable evening, right? If you are trading calls or puts on an earnings trade, it doesn't work out. Um, it kind of like ruins your afternoon, right? I mean, anytime you have a losing position ruins your afternoon, but uh, I just don't want that to happen. And then Roku reports after the close today, and the difference between Roku and XYZ is I was able to lock some in to cover costs to ride free. So now I'm riding free on the Roku calls, and it makes it a lot easier for me to hold on to. And of course, early in the morning, it spikes all the way up to 71 and change. I could have got some more out, and then I was thinking I can take some more out and then go further out on some further out of money strikes. And then by the time I was trying to decide, they weren't a double, and then it just kept melting. And Roku did what it normally does. By 3 o'clock, it went from green to red, down nearly 1%. Bounced a little bit here. I keep not going to go on a rant. My thoughts on Roku. I think it's going to post a monster quarter. I mean, if Netflix is any uh, indication of what the streaming kind of environment looks like, I mean that's probably the best indicator. And I wish Disney or some of these other content providers had reported so you can kind of see you get a little more read through. But I think it's gonna be a strong report. So again, 72 bucks is the key spot. That's the 50 and 200-day moving average. I mean, call me crazy. I mean, I have plenty of time on the rest of my strikes, so I don't need a 15% move to make money. I just hope it's a great report. It gaps and runs, and then the run continues, and then I can deploy more capital if I have to tomorrow if I think there's continuation. On the flip side, even if the stock has done this in the past where it has beats and raises, the stock doesn't do well. I just at least I'm riding free, right? So it takes the pain away. Of course, it'll be disappointing. And what's even more disappointing on Roku is when it's a beat and raise, and you think the stock should go nuts, and it doesn't. It's done a couple times where it's ran in the after hour session, new high, like 15, 20%. And then the next morning, the pre market opens and it just melts all the way to the open and gives back all the gains. So, I mean, there's been very frustrating trades. I know a lot of folks in here say, why do you keep trading? Because I'm convicted in the story. And, they always say, right? Not wrong, just early. I'm hoping the early part comes in the next 6 to 12 months, right? All right, so that's Roku. And then other names, I mean, the GLP-1 space, not continuing from yesterday's run. I probably most of it's from Eli Lilly. So I'll just continue to hold my VKTX. And I was looking to close more GPCR and go out further, but I'll just be patient there because again, I think these are still on the cusp of running. Travelzoo gapped at the open. It was like 16 bucks right out of the gate. And then it just melted. Then it was 15 bucks, then hold around. Now it's just melting for the rest of the day. It's only up 1.5%. Still eyeing some more strikes. I just want to see more life. So, I mean, it's just sitting here at 14 bucks. It doesn't make sense to chase it here because I have time and it's not the most volatile name. So I'll just be patient there, but still like this one for higher over 20 bucks in the coming days. Yeah, 3 cents more in turn. Other names are for strategy after the close. That one all the way up to 400 bucks earlier today. It's just, I mean, what earnings are they going to report? It's not really not about that. It's about what's their quote unquote strategy going forward. And the commentary probably from the CEO is more important sailor than actual underlying how many coins they have and all that fun stuff. So that's that. I'm trying to think of other names here, but other than that, I mean, to me, I mean, just doesn't make sense to be overly aggressive. And you take a look. I mean, I was looking at Universal Display. I was talking about this one like last week, I think, right? It was one of my old favorites. Um, that one's up almost 15% here, but it has earnings today. So it's tough and only monthly strikes. Uh, I was watching that in the morning because some of these plays that have been oversold have to be coming back to life. I'm trying to think of some of the other names to watch. Hims and Hers is just mind-boggling to me that had such great news to start the week or Tuesday, and then gave it back again, and now it's bouncing. It's not even up to those highs again. Not a name I'm going to trade just yet, but um, just kind of interesting there. Oh, and then other names. Restoration Hardware is sort of green. I'm going slow green, but it was over 190 in the early morning in sympathy with Wayfair, and then just gave it back. So that was disappointing. Tomorrow's probably another day where I'll look to trade it, whether it be Lottos or into next week. And that's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Let's go Roku, rock and roll.